So while you watch me struggle to swatch these markers, I want to talk about my thoughts really quick about this marker set that Arrtx kindly gifted me to review. For one, I love all the colors that are available. There are so many. I was a little overwhelmed, not gonna lie, when I first got it. I knew I was getting sent a set with 90 markers in it, but the number was not processing in my head. There's a mix of different vibrant colors, pastels, and a wide range of grays to work with, which I was kind of surprised to see. There's a lot of grays. I noticed though while I was swatching the markers, some of the colors looked very similar, especially the reds and the browns. However, I liked that they're dual tipped and the shape of the markers are triangular, so it's easier to hold. The box that holds the markers has a handle on it so you can carry it around. Well, one thing I learned about alcohol markers that I didn't know before is that they usually come with a blender marker. It's an alcohol marker without ink. It's just alcohol and you can use it to blend, which is really cool. So I tried organizing these in rainbow order. That's why I took them all out while I was swatching them. But I ended up reorganizing them by number according to what I saw on the swatch sheet. I use the swatch sheet all the time for reference. Because I noticed the colors on some of the caps are not exact to the colors that I see on paper, especially the pastels. And I think this is usually the case with like markers in general. I could have like two pinks together, but one is a pastel and one is just a regular pink. And I wouldn't be able to tell the difference until I swatched them, which was a bit time consuming. Although rainbow order looked really nice, it just wasn't working for me. For day one, I gave myself some time to experiment with the markers. I tried blending a little bit, I drew some random shapes, and I also tested out the gel pens. I love these gel pens. I mainly use the white gel pen in this video, but I think the silver and gold also looks really nice, and they're great for adding highlights and sparkles. One thing I learned about alcohol markers is that they work great with other mediums. So I'm using my Crayola colored pencils for the sketch and to add some textures later on. I feel like I've had this set of colored pencils since I think middle school. And the pack that it came with is just falling apart and I refuse to get rid of it. I decided to draw some plants for day one. Plants are easy for me to draw in, so I felt like it was a good starting place with alcohol markers. I just looked up plants on Pinterest and I started drawing. I didn't realize this until after sketching though, that all the photos that I found of these plants are from websites selling plant pots, and so they're all in the same angle. All these sketches are in the same angle, and I could have found better references. Another thing I learned on that day is that I really struggle working with darker colors. Most of the colors I used for day one were pastels, and when I put on the first layer of pastels on the leaves, I thought, oh my god, this is so dark. But really, it's really light that you can barely see it in the video. I used a darker green for the leaves on the second plant, and that's when I got a little overwhelmed, because I was like, oh my god, this is even darker. I've learned now though that layering when using alcohol markers is so important. Even like layering 10 pastel colors on top of each other will still be very light, especially against the white sketchbook paper. I could have added more layers on the leaves and the pots so that the dark green wouldn't stand out so much, and it can create a wider value range. But you know, I love my silly little happy Pinterest plants, and it got better the next day. Now for day 2, well, really this is actually day 1, just at 10 p.m. I've lied to you all. I'm so sorry. I did not film this video 5 days in a row. I filmed this in 5 separate days in a span of 2 weeks because I'm a college student. Woohoo! In between days I have to do like chemistry homework and, you know, it's rough out here. Anyways, I decided to draw more plants on day 2. I was not satisfied with the ones that I made yesterday, and I wanted to experiment with darker colors. Actually, I remember on this day I wanted to try drawing fruit. I had this blueberry reference saved, but I was too intimidated to draw it. But I continued with my plants. One important thing I learned on this day is that it's important to layer from light to dark when using alcohol markers. I started with my pastels, you know, me and my pastels, and I added more and more layers to the shaded areas and the grass underneath the plants. And not gonna lie, when I added the shadows, I was panicking a little bit because again, I thought I made a mistake and it was just way too dark. But the more color I added, the better it was starting to look. These plants look a little bit better from yesterday. Well, really, that morning. But you know. I want to paint some sharks today. I don't know. Is this a good angle? My hand's gonna be in the way. Okay, first shark done. I think I have room for 2 more sharks. Okay. Ta-da! I think it'll be too short. Oh no, I have to like scale it down a bit. Oh no, I'm nervous now. There we go. You know, when I got sent these markers, I was like pressuring myself to make something amazing and incredible, really push my skills with this. But you know, sometimes I just want to draw some sharks. Let's start with the tail, because I think the tail's really dark. Okay! Now for the second one, I want to make this one purple. I want the nose to be like really light. Okay. This one, how am I gonna do this one? Whale sharks are like very blue. Let's see. Okay, now I'm gonna go over everything with colored pencils to darken some areas. Look at this one. I don't know, this one actually already looks really good. Last one. Oh my god, I need to add blush. Oh my god, yes. Yes, I love it. Final touch though. I'm gonna add a gel pen. Hope this works. Yay, I'm done. Ta-da! Okay, day 4 was a disaster. I tried making some fun little marker portraits and it just was not going how I wanted it to be. I was going to leave these clips out, but I decided to leave them in because I want to show how much I was struggling. Why is she purple? I don't know. I don't know what I just made. And hold on, there's a second one. I think I accidentally made avatar fan art. You'll see in a second. And I forgot to press record. I don't know what I just made. I don't know what this is. We have reached day 5. Those marker portraits really knocked me out, not gonna lie. And for day 5, I kind of popped off a little bit, and I think a little too hard this time. I told myself it's okay to not make anything extravagant, don't feel pressured or anything to make anything crazy, just make whatever, keep it chill. I went ahead and drew a scene from Howl's Moving Castle. It's like we went from little plants to bigger plants to sharks to failed portraits and now a full-on background scene. Love that for me. So I started off sketching the rough shapes with a colored pencil, as you saw, and I was not looking forward to rendering Howl's Castle because there's so much stuff. There's so much stuff. I started off with the house first with alcohol markers, and then I started working my way around, and I made the mistake of using the wrong colors for the house. You can see it there. Of course, I wasn't going for accurate. There was no way for me to get the exact colors from the screen cap. The colors were so off that it was giving me such a rough start, but I kept going anyways. By the way, my favorite color to use for this illustration was number 124. It's this bright fluorescent green, and it's the perfect color for the grass in the scene. I like covered the entire field with it, as you can see. I accidentally made the little guy, the little shepherd sheep guy, a little too big. You can see it there. I should have used colored pencils on him. It was really fun filling in the sky. As I was like adding all the colors on the field, the sky felt so bare, and so I started adding the colors of the sky, and it just pieced everything together. I noticed in Studio Ghibli, or Ghibli, I've been seeing so many videos on like the pronunciation of Studio Ghibli or Ghibli, and now I don't know how to pronounce it. But I noticed in their movies, the sky looks kind of green, like a tint of green in them, and I try to replicate that by adding some green to the sky. Also, as you can see, I added a lot of blue to the castle to make it seem like it's farther away, it's out in the distance. And to be frank, I was putting quite a lot of pressure on myself to make something like really big or detailed and grand with these markers because they were gifted to me. I feel like I had to earn these markers even though they were gifted to me. Eventually that anxiety kind of eased away, and I ended up really loving using these alcohol markers. And as I was editing this video, I was in this like major creative rush to just draw. And I started drawing like crazy, and I'll show the artwork that I made at the end of the video. So this leads me to the most important thing I learned from this challenge, and that is there's no one right way to use alcohol markers. And that's what I was stressing out over. I didn't think I was using the markers in its, entirety, and I wasn't making anything super detailed or rendered. Really, you can use them for literally anything, however you like. And it's only when I finished filming is when I started to really enjoy them because I didn't give myself that pressure. I was free to just draw whatever. Here's all the artwork that I made during this challenge, as well as the artwork that I made after filming while I was editing this video. There's a lot of stuff in here that, I don't really like, and that's okay, because I learned a lot from this challenge, and I can definitely see myself using these markers for a long time, just like my Crayola colored pencils. Yeah, thank you so much to Arrtx for sponsoring this video, and thank you so much for watching. Love you. Bye.
Hello. Wow. Ang ganda. Origami.
Want to say hi?
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Oh, it's very nice.